Life gets hard sometimes, and sometimes shutting down seems like the easiest thing to do, but we have other responsibilities. We have other things that we're trying to achieve in life. We have other people relying on us. We have other people that depend on us. We have other things that require some of us. So how do we stop shutting down when life gets tough? Now, just from a anecdotal standpoint or from a story standpoint, my wife and I just had a baby almost 3 months ago now, which is crazy because time is absolutely flown, right? You know, we're working jobs. I actually just got out of the ER. I had kind of like a little bit of a health scare or whatever. So that, weighed on us, and we have some other family things that have happened that were really, really unfortunate. So a lot of things have happened in such a short amount of time that added a lot of stress and a little bit of chaos to life. But there's other things that, again, like I said, still responsibilities that I have to handle as a man of my household. There's still responsibilities that my wife has to handle as a woman of the household, as my wife, as a mother, everything. Now, how do we not shut down when this stuff happens? I'm gonna go into 4 ways of how you can do that and how you can really focus on that so you can lock in so that no matter what comes your way, you're still able to get done what you need to get done. So, but before we do that, if you can subscribe to the channel, I really appreciate it. We're gonna keep talking about the things that matter. Now, number 1, understand your stress pattern. I know I'm someone who I can get stressed when work gets really, really busy, when I know I have hard workouts on my schedule. Sometimes those are stress inducing as well. When I see our social calendar and we have like a lot going on where I'm thinking, oh, okay, after a really, really, hard week, even though it might be good hard, like there's a lot of good things going on, then on Saturday, Sunday, we have things going on with friends or family where I'm like, oh, I don't know where I'm actually personally gonna get any sort of rest, right? When I see those things stack up, that is when my stress pattern hits where I'm like, oh, I am on my way to some level of a minor mental breakdown where it's like, I just shut down, I lack so much energy, I'm grumpy, I'm groggy, all of that stuff. So, but when I understand that and when I see that, that's where I can start to shift things. So for me and my wife, what we really do and what we really focus on now is we look at our social calendar, we look at our weekends, and we're like, hey, we don't just pack every single weekend because we know that there's some weekends where we just need absolute rest, where we're not doing anything, where we have no plans, we're just doing things that is just kind of good for the soul. We call it randoming, right? My wife and her mom coined the term just randoming, where it's like there's nothing on the calendar, on the schedule, and you're just doing things that you want to get done, that you need to get done, but it's not anything that's stress inducing. So if you understand your stress pattern, you understand what is causing the stress, then you're able to understand kind of how to navigate away from it. Number 2, being fine, quote unquote, is not always okay. This is one thing where when I shut down, I'm someone, if you ask me how I'm doing, I'm like, oh, I'm fine. Everything is fine. Now, when I say that, sometimes I am under the most stress. And when I acknowledge that being fine is not okay, then I can actually make changes. Because what you do is when you say things are fine and you actually, try to believe that doesn't give you any room for actually making any sort of improvement. Because if things are fine, you can just keep going along to get along without making any changes because things are fine. But when you actually understand that being fine is not just okay, then you actually avoid burnout because you make solutions to get yourself away from that. So again, hustle culture is something that is not always it. I used to, if you saw videos from me 10 years ago, I'd be like, hustle, don't sleep, this and that. As you get older, when you have more responsibilities, you realize that it's great to hustle and grind in specific times that you really need that. But if that's your entire life, then that is going to be very stress inducing, even if it's good stress, even if it's things that you love to do. And it's going to push you to a place where you just feel quote unquote fine, but we know you're not really fine. So being fine isn't always okay. Try to get out of that fine where you're actually feeling good. Number 3, build a decompression routine. So I've talked about other videos, but it's so important. There's different transition points throughout your day. Transition well, then what happens is you bring stress from one aspect of your day onto the next aspect without transitioning. For me, my biggest transition point is from the workday and then into family life. If I go straight from the workday immediately into family life, then I'm stressed, right? Then I bring those conversations into family life. I bring, any sort of deadlines or things that I'm up against into family life, which isn't always the best. So for me, that transition point is I love making dinner because what it allows me to do is be very, very present. And so I can take a step back, put a podcast on, talk to Carly, hang out with my baby, see the pups and everything. And I'm in this little bit decompression area where I'm just focusing on making dinner and being present versus just jumping into, all things family, right? And it's like I'm doing a task that I really, really enjoy doing. It allows me to take a deep breath and smooth things out. So if you notice your transition points, when the stress typically hits, what you don't want to do is keep carrying over stress. The other thing is now, since we have a baby, it's like going to bed, we go from being parents full time and everything to getting her down. And it's like, I can't just go from, when she's up, she has 7 to 8:30 p.m. She's a little bit fussy, and I'm typically handling her then. It's like, well, then getting her down, and now I'm still kind of not really on edge, but like I'm up and I'm alert. I can't just go to bed, right? So I have a decompression transition time for that. You know, I stretch, I go in my closet where it's dark, I stretch, you know, I get ready for the next day and everything, and I take a deep breath and I bring it down so that I'm actually able to have a good night's sleep versus just going to sleep feeling all these emotions of like the day and being like, oh, I never got a chance to actually rest. So again, build a decompression routine, find your transition moments. And last but not least, number 4, and this is so huge among men and so huge for men, be emotionally honest. Like my wife and I are very, very honest about everything. And the one thing that I've become a lot more honest and better about is being very emotionally honest about how I feel about things and where I'm at with things. And especially when it comes to my stress, because I've noticed that over the years of us being together, stress is the one thing that has thrown me off the most, and it gets triggered by different things. Early on, it was like financial stress. And then now it can be because of busyness stress, right? But if I'm emotionally honest about where I am, then as a team, we can help each other out. And when you're not emotionally honest, and it goes back to my point too, when you just keep saying that you're fine and you're not really emotionally honest about it, then you just keep driving yourself into the ground and into burnout. And a one common theme that I actually kind of want to continue to talk about on this channel is just being very honest and transparent about who you are, what you want in life, and kind of like, you know, where you want to be, because that's something where we get a lot of stress by trying to be who we're not, trying to be somebody else, trying to go after things that really don't matter to us. And then we're under all of this stress for no apparent reason, right? And then we look at our life and we're like, are we living the life that we want to? And then we're so stressed out about it because then we have those questions and it's like, wait, you might not even be living authentically to who you want to be, but you're so stressed out because you're not being honest about who you want to be, where you want to be, what you want to be doing, right? So that honesty is going to help lead into so many other aspects of life. So again, make sure that you are being emotionally honest. And I'll walk through it one more time. Number 1, understand your stress patterns. Number 2, being fine isn't always okay. It's okay not to be fine. Number 3, build a decompression routine. So with your transition moments of the day, you're able to take a deep breath and relax. You don't bring that stress from point to point. And number 4, be emotionally honest about who you are, where you want to be. I hope that this message helped you out. If you know it can help somebody else, send it to them, please. That'd be great. And I'll see you all next video. Peace.